Daily Words of God.
In the work of the last days, the Word is mightier than the manifestation of signs and wonders, and the authority of the Word surpasses that of signs and wonders. The Word reveals all the corrupt dispositions in the heart of man. You are unable to recognize them on your own. When they are revealed to you through the Word, you will naturally come to the realization. You will not be able to deny them, and you will be utterly convinced. Is this not the authority of the Word? This is the result achieved by the present work of the Word. Therefore, man cannot be fully saved from his sins by the healing of sickness and casting out of demons, and cannot be fully made complete by the manifestation of signs and wonders. The authority to heal and cast out demons only gives man grace, but the flesh of man still belongs to Satan, and the corrupt satanic disposition still remains within man. In other words, that which has not been made clean still belongs to sin and filth. Only after man has been made clean through words can he be gained by God and become sanctified. If no more is done than casting out the demons within man and redeeming him, that is only seizing him from the hands of Satan and returning him to God. However, he has not been made clean or changed by God, and he remains corrupt. Within man still exists filth, opposition, and rebelliousness. Man has only returned to God through redemption, but man has no knowledge of him and still resists and betrays God. Before man was redeemed, many of Satan's poisons were already planted within him. After thousands of years of Satan's corruption, man already has within him a nature that resists God. Therefore, when man has been redeemed, it is nothing more than redemption, where man is bought at a high price, but the poisonous nature within has not been eliminated. Man that is so defiled must undergo a change before being worthy to serve God. Through this work of judgment and chastisement, man will fully come to know the filthy and corrupt substance within him, and he will be able to completely change and become clean. Only in this way can man be worthy to return before the throne of God. All the work done this day is so that man can be made clean and be changed. Through judgment and chastisement by the Word, as well as refinement, man can cast away his corruption and be made pure. Rather than deeming this stage of work to be that of salvation, it would be more apt to say it is the work of purification. In truth, this stage is that of conquest, as well as the second stage of salvation. Man is gained by God through judgment and chastisement by the Word, through the use of the Word to refine, judge, and disclose all of the impurities, notions, motives, and individual hopes within man's heart are completely revealed. Though man has been redeemed and forgiven of his sins, it is only considered as God not remembering the transgressions of man, and not treating man in accordance with man's transgressions. However, when man lives in the flesh, and he has not been set free from sin, he can only continue to sin, endlessly revealing the corrupt satanic disposition. This is the life that man leads, an endless cycle of sin and forgiveness. The majority of men sin in the day, only to confess in the evening. As such, even if the sin offering is forever effective for man, it would not be able to save man from sin. Only half the work of salvation has been completed, for man still has corrupt disposition. For instance, when people realized that they were descended from Moab, they issued words of complaint, no longer sought life, and became utterly passive. Does this not show that they are still unable to fully submit under the dominion of God? Is this not precisely the corrupt satanic disposition? When you were not being subjected to chastisement, your hands were raised higher than all others, even that of Jesus. And you cried out in a loud voice, "Be a beloved Son of God. Be an intimate of God. We would rather die than submit to Satan. Revolt against the old Satan. Revolt against the great red dragon. Let the great red dragon completely fall from power. Let God make us complete." Your cries were louder than all others. But then came the times of chastisement, and once again was the corrupt disposition of people revealed. Then their cries ceased, and they no longer had resolution. This is the corruption of man. It runs deeper than sin, planted by Satan, and deeply rooted within man. It is not easy for man to become aware of his sins. Man is unable to recognize his own deeply rooted nature. Only through judgment by the Word can such effects be achieved. Only thus can man gradually be changed from that point onward. Man shouted thus in the past because man had no understanding of his original corrupt disposition. Such are the impurities within man. Throughout such a long period of judgment and chastisement, man lived in an atmosphere of tension. Was this not all achieved through the Word? Did you not also cry out with a very loud voice prior to the trial of service doers? Enter the kingdom. All those who accept this name shall enter into the kingdom. All shall partake of God. When the trial of service doers came, you no longer cried. At first, all cried out, "God, wherever you place me, I shall submit to being steered by you." Upon reading the words of God, "Who will be my Paul?" Man said, "I am willing." Then he saw the words, "And what of the faith of Job?" So he said, "I am willing to take the faith of Job. God, please test me." When the trial of service doers came, he collapsed at once and almost could not stand up again. After that, the impurities in man's heart gradually diminished. Was this not achieved through the Word? So, what you have experienced in the present are results achieved through the Word, even greater than that achieved through Jesus' working of signs and wonders. The glory of God and authority of God Himself that you see are not merely seen through the crucifixion, healing of sickness and casting out of demons, but more so through His judgment by the Word. This shows you that not only the working of signs, healing of sickness and casting out of demons are the authority and power of God, but judgment by the Word is better able to represent the authority of God and to reveal His almightiness.
In the work God does in the last days, the word's mightier than signs, wonders. Its authority surpasses theirs. It shows man's corrupt dispositions. You can't recognize them on your own, but when the word lays them bare before you, you'll discover them, not deny them, and it will utterly convince you. Isn't this the word's authority? This is the result that is achieved. By the work of the word done today, yes, this is what God's word can achieve. This shows God's authority. Power isn't just working signs, healing the sick, and it's not just casting out demons. Rather, the judgment of the word is more able to show God's almighty and represent His authority. By this work of judgment, chastisement, man will be able to fully see his own filthy and corrupt substance, and he'll change completely and be clean. It's the one way man can be worthy to return before the throne of God. It's through the word's judgment and chastisement that man's able to be gained by God. It is through the judgment of the word, through its refinement and its closing, all of man's notions, motives, and hopes, what's impure in his heart, are revealed. This shows God's authority. Power isn't just working signs, healing the sick, and it's not just casting out demons. Rather, the judgment of the word is more able to show God's almighty and represent His authority. All the fruits you get are through the word, greater than those through signs and wonders. You see His glory